we can talk about this in-game. Right, so my issue that I was just kind of discussing with you folks on the stream is that I think the patch rate is concerning to me because these exploits will not be utilized hard at the highest level games, right? These games between people like Blue Elephant and Sjow, there's a lot of smurfing going on, right? Which you can say is somewhat dishonorable, but there's no dishonor around like the use of bug exploits that we're seeing, really, right? Because actually a lot of people who are willing to use these exploits, funnily enough, even when they use them, still manage to lose to the highly skilled players because they know how to use the bug, they just don't know how to play the game, and they never will because all they do is engage with the exploit. But my concern is that if you want to keep your player count strong, if you want to keep your people engaged with the game strong, you need to address these exploits much quicker. Because while you're not losing these high-level players necessarily, they're engaging at a level where they don't have to encounter this. They're out of the elo hell in that regard. The people who are sitting in the elo hell, they're encountering these exploits, are going to be driven away from the game. Because they're going to have no understanding of what the hell happened. And that's, by the way, that's the nice addition, at least with the observe at the end, right? When you lose the game, you can actually still look at the map. Is at least you can kind of get a process of what the hell happens. But when you say what the hell happened and look at a base and then see that someone's got some sort of an exploit. So if we had it previously, it would have been that someone has 1,000,001 relics. You go, that's not right. Then you maybe just rage quit and stop playing the game. I think the spear issue now that's being presented, the bugged spear range and how you can upgrade it like crazy, I won't go into detail on it. That's an example of like these type of bugs that genuinely shouldn't be making it through. And it's a big justification in my eyes for why we need a test server. We need a test server. We need rapid, small patches that the devs can just release, people can engage with, say if it does or doesn't work. And that's how, and it's an opt-in thing. People who want to help the game progress in that regard can. You can also use it to get, high-level player feedback, as well as scout out these bugs. Because when you're a development team, you can't easily spot these out. And I think a lot of people use the idea of the community testing their game incorrectly. Battlefield. But this is a great way that you can use it correctly, right? Where you just let this test server exist, you push patches in there literally every week, if even that, and people quickly can give feedback if need be. They can scout out really big bugs that just shouldn't be making it. Because the Spear one alone just baffles me how that one even got through. I can understand how it got through, but if you had a test server, it never would have occurred. So yeah, I hope they do that. I hope we get a more kind of frequent patch cycle and we can, actually start to get kind of regular adaptations and changes. So I think for waiting a month, I don't feel like the meta changed that much, and as I just had a rant on stream about before, and probably will in multiple ones of these casts, I don't know how Spring Wars didn't get nerfed more. I don't know how your solution was to buff the other siege weapons, saying, oh, this is the only siege weapon that gets built. So instead of nerfing that siege weapon's effectivity against non-siege weapons, you said, I'm going to buff siege weapons so that the anti-siege Spring War, which has been the baseline for the meta so far, will continue to be strong. In fact, nay, be even stronger, as it will be even more effective as people are more likely to build these mangonels that get sniped out effectively by springs. Rant over, though. Let's focus on the game, because these guys deserve our attention. We have got Sjow playing as the Mongols. He actually puts a lot of Mongol time in, actually. A lot of the matches we've been seeing from him have been him on this Civ. And he is going to be up against the infamous Blue Elephant over here in the blue, appropriately this game. Sorry, I instinctively was getting ready from the red, because that's what we last saw Blue Elephant playing, was Red China. But no, he's going to be playing France in the blue this time. He actually got his color correctly sorted this time around. He woke up on the correct side of the colorblind bed and understood that Smurfs should always be in blue. And playing France, apparently. And this is going to be fun, because I love Boulder Bay. I'm absolutely just, I'm so enthusiastic about the existence of Boulder Bay. I want to see it used more as a baseline for competitive tournaments. I think, Dry Arabia seems solid, but we've seen how powerful that can be for certain civs like the French and any other cavalry. But the cool thing about Boulder Bay is you have this give and take of the water, right? You can have to pay attention to it, you can neglect it. There is maybe a balance argument about the existence of maybe the dock, the marketplace dock, right? I think that can maybe... I don't know how I feel about coastal trade posts from the perspective of if you get pushed off the water, one opponent can engage with it and then get infinite gold, and you can never actually interrupt them if they just keep spamming hulks, right? But obviously the limitation is pop cap. So I think for the most it's fine. Maybe there should be a tweak around the coastal trade post though. Maybe instead of being on this island, it should be central near this sacred site, but maybe that then puts too much priority around this area of the map, right? With a marketplace nearby and already one sacred site. But overall, I will say, out of across-the-board map designs, when you think of all the Civ's unique perks and elements around land and sea, I do like the idea of Boulder Bay as just kind of the center point for the most balanced map across the board. Although this seed is definitely not balanced. Because as you folks might have noticed in the middle of my ramblings, if you're bored of hearing it, this tree line completely cuts off the Mongol player from going and trading with the trade post. Now, Sjow, so far, vision-wise, has scouted this out. He knows that this is the case, so I do hope that, yeah, he's not going for the trade. We're not going to see the caravan routes coming out this one. I don't usually like the caravan routes when we see them anyway. I think Boulder Bay is a justifiable map, but we've seen it's actually very problematic to get off the ground and make function well. I also think they changed the pricing, so you only get reduced gold, not the wood anymore. Because they were trying to fix something to do with the double caravan spam off the back of, like, Uvu. I know there was some bugs around that. One got resolved, but I think it introduced a new one. But no, instead, Sjow opting to go for the Deer Stone and is going onto the water. Something that is being matched by the French player, and it looks like the dock count is actually with that French player right now. Sjow trying to fix that and now get a second dock up. Remember, by the way, these fishing ships cost more. They got nerfed. They were 60 wood, now they're 75 wood. Still most definitely worth the investment. Absolutely should all the time. But I like this move by Sjow. Quickly moving the light junk out because he knows that his opponent's teched up. He's trying to get a little bit of value before the Hulk comes out. Problem is, this was not quick enough. He will not be able to snipe out in his fishing eco because, well, under a dock, I think they should be mostly safe. In fact, he could easily repair these if need be. You can see he's already moving them up before they even get attacked in some cases. So, Blue Elephant buying a little bit of time, and surprise! Yo! Happy birthday, big boy! I don't think he likes his present, though. I don't know how anyone would really feel about opening a gift-wrapped present and just finding it was the Hulk. But he definitely ain't enjoying it. And Sjow, in the meantime, at least able to snipe some eco on land. Look at this, with the attack speed on the Khan, able to get one of these villages. Doesn't really scare Blue Elephant off the line, which is kind of surprising. He's taking quite a lot of damage on these villages. And hasn't opted in the textiles at all either. I mean, you wouldn't want to have to do that just for a Khan alone, but definitely feeling a little bit of pain in that regard. As he knows that he can pressure Blue Elephant here, right? Because although he's going to lose the battle on the water at the moment, Blue Elephant is looking for that secondary Hulk, which means he needs all this excess gold. So he knows that Blue Elephant isn't going to pull his workers away from this line hard, which means that Sjow is getting huge eco damage value, which he's going to need to do because in the next 5, 6, maybe 7 minutes, he's likely to be pushed off of the waterfront. Having said this, Sjow is making a great effort to stay on water with a triple dock drop into multiple light junks. And remember that the Hulks did get nerfed. The French Hulks lost a lot of ranged armor. There used to be 6 ranged armor, now down to 2. So, with enough low junks, you could easily just push the French player off the water. And I'm looking forward to seeing this interaction for the first time on the new patch, because I do feel like it's about time that French naval supremacy got dealt with. Considering that historically, I would never have referred to France as a naval supreme nation. In fact, historically, wouldn't the Mongols to some degree have been stronger? I'm trying to remember my timelines, because China had a great fleet, a few different stages, right? I think maybe the Mongols had inherent part of that, but yeah, obviously Mongols aren't especially known for their naval influence. So Sjow's going. He's going to manage to get one of these fisher ships, but not enough to tug out the Hulks, right? That's why you just prioritize the fisher ship. You need to get quite a few of these light junks if he wants to assault the military force that is present on the sea for Blue Elephant. Blue Elephant is prioritizing sea heavily. You can see he's actually walling himself in. So he just wants to be present mostly on the naval side and then just try and go for a later timing on actually getting active land-wise. And this does work out against Sjow, by the way, because Sjow in this current situation, he needs to take advantage of land. But if, obviously, the defenses are coming down, he can't rush in and get some more eco damage. He knows he's probably going to eventually lose on the sea. And he knows he can't easily resort to trade because of this stupid map generation. This map generation that Blue Elephant doesn't necessarily know 100% is there, but probably assumes to an extent. You can see scout out some of it. So he has to feel that his opponent can't play into the marketplace at all. So he's not worried about actually needing to be present on land at all. And that's kind of the weird dynamics that are forced sometimes by these maps. Also, once again, why scouting is so goddamn important is exactly reasons like this. You never know what your opponent's doing unless you scout it, but you also never know what the RNG gods have done with the map generation unless you scout it. So Sjow, just moving on the deep fish. Remember that you gather quicker from these. Of course, there's still a lot of shoreline fish you could engage with, but the gather rate tends to make it worth the trips for the most. You can see actually 14, 15, 16, 23, 24. Yeah, you can see it's kind of sluggishly different. And considering the capacity of the fisher ships is 40, I think it is slightly more efficient to go this type of distance to the deep water. as opposed to stay on the shoreline. It also gives you the fallback option, right, for safety. So right now he's gathering from the dangerous deep water fish, right, where he could be assaulted by the Hulk fleet. Once he sees that Hulk fleet, he can back up and just use these shoreline fish, which is now what he's doing. And surprised Blue Elephant hasn't pushed in more, by the way. Up to 5 of these Hulks, but still just refusing to move out. He is trying to hide in these areas. Remember, something that we quite often forget is you are hidden. For some reason, in this is the water's equivalent of a stealth forest, folks. And I know it makes very little sense. It's literally just leaves sitting on the water. I don't know how that would stop a ship with 3 decks from seeing across and beyond it. But we don't question these things. We just accept them as gospel and fact. So on land, Sjow, able to get some spearmen out now. Needs to start moving quickly across that map. The problem is that now his opponent's walled himself in. How do you actually easily, quickly breach this? And his concern is probably that, you know, anything he does is going to give enough time for Blue Elephant to react. And Blue Elephant is already on his way towards that tech up. It is going to be complete now. So Sjow, nowhere near ready for a tech up himself. In fact, I feel like he's been neglecting the gold. He's fixing it now. As you can see, 19 people working on it. Sjow needs to get that quick tech up timing so you can get the step readout so that you can actually exploit the gold front and move out. Because this is the big important fact about what Blue Elephant's done here. Because he's walled himself in, it means that he's essentially, for the moment at least, surrendered all of this land to Sjow. And Sjow, with that step readout, could actually mine his way for a lot of these huge, chunky 8k gold veins in the blink of an eye. Naval forces engaging. He tried to use the Navy stealth to his advantage here, but he's already lost one of these Hulks. Archer ships are being brought low, but junk ships are going to start to retreat away. So he only got through one of the Hulks, did snipe some of the fishing vessels as well. And that was the kind of cool thing, right, about this placement of the stealth sea, right? Is he's right next to this deep water fish, so it kind of baits your opponent in and also, you know, gives that natural surprise element. But he's getting a surprise of his own now that Sjow is up to 11 of these junk ships. He's realizing that the Hulks may not be all that they used to be anymore. And it's about goddamn time that became the case. And that does weaken France quite a bit on water when you think about it, really, because galleasses aren't good, in my opinion. I feel like galleass, I've not once seen galleasses utilized in a way that convinced me that they're worth the investment. So that can become problematic, right, in terms of what you diversify into as France. So instead, all he's left with is demo ships, which he's now starting to build into. And if he can reach these junk ship lines, will do huge amounts of damage. But keep in mind that light junks can shoot on the go quite effectively. So until you get yourself into Imp Age and are able to Ultra Boom with the explosives, as you can see there, which I don't think actually got fixed, by the way. Explosives, if I'm not mistaken, never got altered, which is surprising because I feel like there's no way it was intended to be range and damage, right? If it was, that's poor wording. Same way that, like, for example, Prelates, right? I think the tooltip actually says that increase the gather rate, but, like, obviously, you know, it does more than just that, as they can collect more as well as gather faster. Small details like this, though, like, I think they just need to work on their wording in general. I think the meaningful one that some people pointed out is that they renamed the Tower War Elephant, right? So they renamed Tower War Elephant to Tower Elephant. And then afterwards, they went back on their patch notes and pointed out this wasn't changed. So maybe some indiscrepancies on that front that could be addressed. Hopefully they do so in the future. Yeah, so you can already see he's trying to burn his way through the wall. Just a few archers holding back, though. And that's the problem he has right now. Like, now do you invest heavier into water, or do you go on to land more? It looks like now that he's up in the castle age, he's going to focus on the water heavier. And he is not going into war junks. It's kind of surprising. He's continued to actually just spam out the light junks, but I like this move. Look what he's getting, guys. The extra ballista. So he's going to get that plus 15 damage firing in any direction. This is a cool idea. It's more cost-effective than going for the war junks, right? War junks, you just kind of try and match your opponent in terms of quantity. Whereas the light junks, understanding that he still has so many after that last skirmish, he wants to get maximum value. He wants to, like, double up their damage, right? So I really am a big fan of this move. And he will get the explosive junks as well. I think that's the most critical detail here. Is because if you just get in the middle of these Hulks, sick them all out, even if they waste their time, if these Hulks are forced to waste their time booming the explosive ships one by one, it's still a big advantage you get as you gap close as the Mongol player, right? Because your light junks, as you can see, have 4 tower range. And then when you look at the Hulks, well, they're sitting at 7. So you have to gap close to begin these fights. And remember, once you do, it's 1.12 movement speed compared to 1.87. So your opponent is not going to be able to pull away once you get on top of him. Sjow. Research complete. More boom boom ships coming. Now, in terms of who can actually tech up quicker at this stage, I would actually give the edge to Sjow. Sjow has the step read out now. So he's going to just farm his way through these gold veins very quickly. He has chosen to be defensive with it. We said he could potentially move out, but honestly, like, until you get at least Imperial Age, I like that he's not playing forward towards these gold veins just yet. That does mean, however, that you're going to play forward to these gold veins at a stage in the game where Elephant might choose to be present on land again. I say again as if he's been really present at all before that. But he's starting to now. You can see that the Royal Knights are coming out. Second TC going down, so just looking to expand his eco on land to support what he wants to achieve here. He definitely needs to up his gold intake. He's just not going to be able to field a very big army otherwise. So Spear's going to move out. And Knights, well, they're going to be repelled for the moment. He didn't bring the archers with him. So he will at least get one behind the wall. And they're trying to stab this down. They are going to be able to get one of these Knights at least. And Khan will at least keep tanking. This is actually really nicely played, actually. Khan gets the aggro of the archers, so he doesn't lose the spearmen as fast. But he will lose the spearmen in the end anyway. As these are veteran Royal Knights against, I believe, it's only hardened spearmen at that stage. But now the switch up. You can see the crossbows are starting to be produced. Sjow is trickling them out. It's just about keeping this small, influential land force that will keep your opponent at bay from your economy lines, right? But before you try and pivot into taking advantage fully on the naval front, which is what he's doing now. Look at the damage coming out. These Hulks! Prioritized down, being taken out so quick. He hasn't moved these troops any closer just yet, though, which means that the trades are working out quite well with the Hulks. Blue Elephant, I think, is going to win this. Just a cycling, just round and round they go. Honestly, it feels like I'm at the carnival right now. Dun, 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 dun. And down goes the fleet. So it was a nice idea with the light chunks, but the only way I saw this working is if he got deep in and just overwhelmed him at the center, and he didn't do that. Explosive ship's going to be a fail. And I think he just lost full control of the water. Really big misplay from Sjow there, by the way. He built into these ballistas, he built into that extra kind of DPS coming out from the light junks, and then he decides to stay on the edge of the fight. He doesn't push out and surround, because if he surrounds, Blue Elephant, yes, he's going to fire off on both sides, but this micro round makes no difference, and you at least have all your troops firing at once. I still think it's a hard fight, but it also means that then these shots are always going out on different targets. He can't necessarily immediately prioritize these explosive junks, which is what he's doing now. As you can see, this is just a failed attempt by Sjow. Sjow going to lose the dock here. Going to lose the rest of the docks as well. He's going to lose complete control on the waterfront. And meanwhile, on the land front, Blue Elephant is the one starting to take control. He got rid of these crossbows. He pushed forward. And Sjow has barely any military right now. Trying to rectify that, getting more crossbowmen right now. I wouldn't be surprised if Blue Elephant, after he probably spotted one of those crossbows, right, I would want to see him build more archers. If he did get eyeballs on that before they retreated out, I just want to see more archers. But for now, looks like Ellie, he's just going to play it safe. What's the rush, who says? I've stripped him of all his food on the water. He can't get back on here now. I didn't even need these demo ships, mate. People on the demo ships go, oh, thank God, we don't have to blow ourselves up. Oh, my wife, I'm going to get to see my children again. And there's one guy on the demo ship on the right. He goes, oh, God, I'm going to get to see my children again. That's such a disappointment. Before the child points out, Dad, you work on a boom ship. Your job is literally to get blown up. Father just sticks his hands, his head in his hands, cries, goes, why can't my children be proud of my work? Yeah. Last of Sjow's naval presence will be spotted out and pushed off very soon. And he is trying to build in the outpost now. I just don't know how you get out here and build them. You have to get past this force, right? And look, this is the beauty of this map generation for Blue Elephant. This is the sickening part that I was waiting to come into play. These Hulks can now just hold this choke. Because he knows his opponent can only go through this wood line if he cuts through it. And Sjow has made zero effort to do exactly that. He continued to cut back here, where he's super safe. Which means that he has no way of getting central control of the map. And I would absolutely love to see Elephant just drop a temple, but once with priests, send one across the island to cap the sacred site and always get the generation because there's no way your opponent does anything there, and then just grab it here and drop a keep next to it. And there it is. Monastery has been built. So Blue Elephant, he feels the same way. He nods his head. He goes, you're a very smart bird, Pigeon. Thank you, thank you. I like to think I am. I'm like the only one that thinks I am, but I like to think I am. And you are too, Elephant. Well done. I wasn't sure how you'd handle yourself after your defection from the Delhi to the French, but you're handling yourself with true suave, as a Frenchman would. as he will not only get the keep down, get the monastery as well, but he's also securing these gold veins, and he's holding the full choke point. And remember, Sjow having no way back on the water. Look how he starved him out. Blue Elephant, he just separates his hulks, puts them all on these different areas to ensure his opponent could not drop a dock and sneak in a new military force there. Now it's problem town for Sjow. Sjow before, I mean, he had eco advantage, right? He's still got plenty of gold. Food straggler, though. Like, what do you do in this situation? He keeps producing crossbowmen so quickly that he's never building up his food supply. So Imperial Age seems like an absolute never happening right now for Sjow, unless he can win this next fight. And Springles is not the answer. He hasn't scouted forward with the Khan, so he doesn't even know about this. It would have been hard for him to have snuck in without getting sniped by a Hulk, but he should have tried, because now he's going to be pushing into a fort's location, to a keep location, with a Springwood army, which means the Elephant will have plenty of time to react, and in fact, if he wanted, he could easily get his own Springles up on the high ground. And then he'll get in range and start attacking you. That first volley will give him the edge, and all of a sudden Sjow at a disadvantage again. Sjow trying to fix his vision game, but remember, Outpost ain't going to see past the tree, dog, so you ain't going to see on that high ground at all. Springles starting to snipe out the Hulks. Now, that's a good thing they can do. Sjow could potentially find a way back with the water, but he's so invested on the land, I think he's just committed here now. He sinks one of the Hulks, possibly one other one off the coast. And Blue Elephant going to try and retreat this one away, but it is slow. Looks like it'll be quick enough with the upgrade sales, though. 1.29 movement speed, barely get it out in time. And you can see more infrastructure now coming down. It's going to be this double siege workshop drop for Blue Elephant. Blue Elephant, he was thinking about saving up for the Imperial Age. You can see it by the fact that he kind of stemmed off the production rate on his military. But he's going to try and fix that now. He needs to get more units out, and he needs to do it quick. There you go. So Monk's going to move out. This Sprinkle could just move in and snipe this without any threat to it, but chooses not to. In fact, Blue Elephant stops. He seemed paranoid that he was going to get jumped. Instead, he'll just use this to gain the guaranteed gold treacle of the relics right now, something his opponent can't engage with. And you're also going to see him drop the fort on the high ground, the Red Palace. Oh, I love this placement. This is so effective. So now it's almost impossible for Sjow to breach this. He needs trebs, and he doesn't have any. He's just going mangonels, battering rams, right? Remember, battering rams have less health now than they did before. They're less effective. And as long as Blue Elephant keeps bringing out like crossbowmen and knights, he'll be fine against this. The problem I'm seeing right now is it's just a small trickle of knights. He stopped producing the archer front, but like we said, he is planning to go into the siege weapons next. And Blue Elephant, he does need to get his eco under control to allow for that. But it looks like he's in good stead in that regard. He could go for double Mangonel and stick them on the high ground, but he's going to have to do something soon. Baron Rams move in. Hulk's trying to snipe out. And he's not addressing the Hulk, so the Baron Rams going to have to back up. Knights will disengage. He forced out the maneuver arrow very early from Sjow. Demo ship moving in. Booms it way too late, so damage not good enough against the Rams. But the Knights moving in, they'll give their lives to get rid of the Ram and keep the keep up. And that's the New Age reach. Blue Elephant now has the Red Palace on the high ground, and that Red Palace is going to spill a lot of exactly that. Red stuff, blood, out of Team Red. As Sjow in range of it the whole time. Trying to prioritize down the keep as quickly as possible. Villagers moving in, Ram is gone. Start the repairs and can easily garrison here to keep the villagers alive and keep the keep alive with it. The Mangonels and Sprills are not going to be good enough, and they are in range of the keep now. Most of the troops are being burnt through. Sjow, he needs to retreat away from this. He needs to salvage what he can. He can't afford to lose the siege weapons as well. Remember, Sjow is now kind of limited in certain regards. I mean, he's got plenty of gold at the moment, but this area is going to dry up quick. In fact, you can see it, gold vein-wise, this is the last one. After that, he has to move out. He has to find something else. He could at least secure one or two of these relics and maybe sneak this forward gold vein. But in the coming minutes, Sjow has a hard choice to make. He needs to get a quality-type unit composition that will get through this keep line. And he needs to do it in one good strike because he's only got 4k surplus gold to work with at the moment. So, Sjow tries to be efficient with this. Goes for the wood spending instead. He knows there's plenty of wood around here. Eventually a wood line that he needs to get through. So we'll spend that instead and go for the Baron Rams. Baron Rams, less kind of pricey on the eco, on the pop count rather at this point. Remember, they take 1, they used to take 3. But still cost that 300 wood they used to and have 200 less health compared to what they once did. Cannons firing in, Spirals as well. Remember, this Hulk will still do a lot of damage to the Baron Ram. It still hasn't been addressed. And there we go. Cannons now built as well. So 1 Baron Ram already down. Repairs will continue. He's not able to snipe out the villagers just yet. He's moving in range, but villagers will back off in time. And second Baron Ram gone. Once again, Sjow repelled. Kind of just big question marks in his brain right now on what he does with this. And I've got those question marks as well. I just don't know what the solution is. If you're just going to keep amassing crossbowmen and attempting to build 1 or 2 battering rams, you're going to lose this game. There's no other way to look at it right now. You're being out-ecoed in every regard, really. When we look at the income per minute, you can see it right there. Every single front, Sjow is being doubled up on, right? And the gold, by the way, you might be surprised by it. It's because he engaged with this. Blue Elephant went into the trade ships because he's the only one on the water. And remember, these ships provide not only gold, but plenty of other resources too. You can see the food, the wood. He's getting everything he needs. And that's the worrying part for me. Is Sjow, he had no way back under the water. He didn't use these springles to get back on there. He can't breach this defense. I just don't see any way of him doing this. The only move I can think that would work really nicely is he could bring some villagers up and chop through these trees. And then he catches his opponent off guard because his opponent is out of position, not ready to defend this red palace. But if you're forced to keep funneling your way into this choke point, now with Republicans being built by the French player as well, Blue Elephant will have the advantage. Still no production switch up. It's just been archery ranges. It almost just feels like it's stubborn at this point by Sjow. 0 income on the gold front. Like, he's just hoarding gold. I don't know really what the plan is here, Scrooge. Seems to be hoping he's going to see another Christmas. I just doubt it at this rate. So more battering rams. Oh, well, it seems that 2 did not work last time, so I'll invest in 3, he says. And then just bites down his pipe and giggles to himself as he continues to hoard all of his monies. All 5,000 of the gold. Slowly being wasted on crossbowmen. Is definitely problematic. Here we go. Sjow moving in again. Elephant sees him coming. There's not this again. Did you not learn your lesson last time? You fools! As now the cannons quickly snipe him out. Springles moving in to try and deal with those cannons. But brings them in range. The demo ships around the side! He gets him! Blue Elephant with the explosive tech. He finally, after great patience, finds the value. Sjow's army's going to be wiped. The Knights, they're on cleanup duty. And Sjow, he cleans himself up. He dusts himself down and he walks away after tapping the GG as Blue Elephant. Patience wins out. And he is able to shut Sjow out of this map. And while I will say some of this may have been down to that dirty goddamn generation, you have to give Blue Elephant full credit